Hello everyone, today I am back with the video I promised you about all of the X-rays from the La Matière line, and we'll talk about what I discovered while wearing them. And just to keep it short and nice, I would like to I have the original blotters that I used for the first time when filming each of them, and I would like to give them a sniff. I want to see, because these are supposed to be X-rays, and I know about 2 weeks have passed since these blotters were sprayed, and because they are X-rays, they should be powerful, strong enough so that they still smell, some of them. So let's test this right now. There's the Jasmine, which is very, very faint. It's almost there. I know what it smells like, and this is why I can detect it. If I hadn't known what it smelled like, I could tell you the blotter is empty. This was Bergamot Fantastico, which is gone. The vanilla is there and is still very, very strong. Tonka is still there, but it's just an undefined musk. The iris is still there, very faint, but quite beautiful, interesting. And the rose is a very faint honey with maybe rose petals with honey. Quite nice. Now let's refresh them. I'm going to start, I don't know, just like in the order I filmed them. I'm going to start with Tonka. Maybe see if anything's changed. Now, I did wear this. I wore all of them. And Tonka is, I guess, my biggest disappointment, because Tonka smells incredible. It's an incredible smell, but it just smells like Tonka and nothing else. Now, this isn't something new. I did say this in the original review. Yes, I did. All of them, while wearing them, have a bit of a story to tell, with the exception of Tonka. Now, Tonka is just linear, doesn't change a lot. It smells just like Tonka would. No surprises here. However, it is still a gorgeous, gorgeous scent. The next should be Bergamot Fantastico, with its silly, silly name. Now, while wearing this, I remember focusing on, so the most prominent note in Bergamot Fantastico is this weird, because I say it's weird because I haven't come across it before, this weird citrusy but also floral note, which is quite lovely. It's quite beautiful. That reminds me of a launch at Guerlain, which is Habit Rouge, Rouge Privé. And I suspect that it is the exact same thing that they used there to emphasize the bergamot and the orange blossom in Habit Rouge. It's present here as well, and it is very interesting. It's lovely. So the whole fragrance is just that. It's just that note accompanied by an undetermined and quite neutral ambery base, which doesn't get involved in the fragrance at all. However, my final opinion on Bergamot Fantastico is that the scent comes across as a bit dull and unfinished. Maybe I'm judging it too harshly, But at this price point, again, I have to judge them as harshly as I can. There's nothing else to be said about this Bergamot Fantastico. It's bergamot, it's beautiful, it's simple. I guess it's beautifully worked, but it comes across as flat and uninvolved, and it's little more than an Aqua Allegoria. Beautiful, but couldn't possibly justify that price point. Now the next one should be the Jasmine. While wearing Jasmine, and by the way, all of them wear beautifully. I guess the faintest of all of them is Bergamot Fantastico, but that was kind of expected, at least on me. Now, the Jasmine Grandiflorum, it's a rather simple jasmine at first, but on my skin, it kind of veers towards an ambery, ylang sort of jasmine. Fruity, quite tropical. It's a very beautiful scent, but what I want to say is that it's so similar on my skin. It's so similar to Shalimar Souffle de Lumière and Embrune d'Ylang, which are both far more interesting scents than Jasmine Grandiflorum. So not a lot of things to justify with Jasmine Grandiflorum, not a lot of originality here. The jasmine is, again, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because they're X-rays. Just as Bergamot Fantastico feels flat, feels like it's squished. All the notes it's a very lazy sort of fragrance. Now, as I said, it's probably because they are X-rays. I wish they would sing more, if that makes sense. This is soapy, tropical, fruity jasmine. It's beautiful, but again, too similar to Souffle de Lumière or Embrune d'Ylang. Both of them fragrances that you can no longer buy at Guerlain, which is a shame, and I don't think it's a coincidence. Now the next one is, it's my favorite. It's the vanilla. Vanille Planifolia wears spectacularly. It's beautiful. I think it's the most interesting one of the bunch. However, on my skin, and I guess there's something wrong with how I perceive this fragrance, because I've asked other people and all they could tell me is this smells like vanilla. Nothing else, just this smells of vanilla. But my nose cannot, my brain actually cannot perceive true vanilla in this. However, what I do perceive is something very dark, very spicy, that's very, very similar to Lui, which again has been turned into Œillet Pourpre, only to be discontinued this year as well. I don't know if this is a coincidence. I have no idea. But on my skin, this is this dark, vanilla, bitter, woody, very, very beautiful, very tarry type of scent, which is smoky and mysterious, and I very much like this. I say it's similar to Lui, but it's not, it's not one-on-one, definitely. It is a different scent. And very interestingly, when I wore this, and by the way, this has such a deafening sillage. This fills a room. It's very potent. It's not obnoxious at all. It's quite balanced. I wore it to work, and one of my colleagues entered the room where I was, and she just said, "Wow, it smells just like vanilla in here." And I said, "Oh, it's probably from me." And I gave her a sniff. I wear it on my wrist as well. Gave her a sniff. And she said, "Yeah, it smells just like vanilla." And this is so weird because to my nose, this doesn't smell like vanilla. I do get vanilla in this, but it's not just vanilla. As I said, there's something more. And I like this. It's a beautiful scent, and I think it's the only one that's worth the attention out of all of the 6. I think it's the only one worth any attention, really. Now, is it worth the absurd sum that they're asking for? Of course not. There's many more beautiful scents than this, at Guerlain including. All right, now the next one will be Iris Pallida, and Iris Pallida was the fragrance I expected kind of the most. I had the highest hopes for. And Iris Pallida is very woody, funky, musky, sandalwoody, and soapy orris. It's a beautiful scent. I like it. It reminds me of Samsara. I have Samsara here with me because I want to film a Samsara X-ray today as well. Yes. And this reminds me of, so Luca Turin on his Substack came out and bashed all of the X-rays, and I couldn't be happier because it was such a fun read. Go see for yourself on Luca Turin's Substack. He said some very, very nasty things there. However, I do have to be fair. I always have to balance out what Luca Turin says, because I think Luca Turin always does this. He doesn't review fragrances in depth. He doesn't wear them. He just puts them on a blotter and smells them for a few seconds and gives his first impressions and disguises them as full reviews, which isn't fair to the fragrance. Now, I'm pretty sure Luca Turin never wore any of the X-rays. I might be wrong, but from reading those reviews, you can definitely tell that he doesn't know what he's talking about. Those are just first impressions, and he bashed them mercilessly, which is, again, a very fun read. However, most of these X-rays are worked. They are beautiful creations. Now, what's absurd about them isn't the smell, it's just the price, to be fair to the X-rays, to the smells. Now, this, I think the iris he bashed the most. I think he called it not fabric softener. I don't remember what he called it. I'll have a look later. But it was very funny nevertheless. Now, I do like the iris. I think the iris after the vanilla. So the vanilla is definitely my favorite. After the vanilla comes the iris. I think it's the most interesting one. And after the iris, definitely Tonka Sarapia, just because the smell is very, very beautiful in itself, even though I dislike what Guerlain did there. Now, enough about the iris, because there's nothing else. It wears beautifully, it's long-lasting, it's fresh enough that it's not overpowering. I think it's a good scent. And the last one for today is Rose Centifolia, to use the French pronunciation of Latin there. Now, Rose is quite interesting. Rose is quite interesting because it starts out just like Musc Noble, which is this funky, jammy rose. It gradually becomes fresh rose. It becomes fresher. It becomes more spring rosy. This is not Rosa Damascena, this is Centifolia, so this is the fresher variety of rose. I don't know how else to describe it. Then it gradually darkens to go through Rose Barbare, which is this honey patchouli rose at Guerlain. I'm sure all of you know it. Then in the dry down, it's nothing else than Songe d'un bois d'été, which is this very, very spicy, a bit rosy patchouli, earthy, full, green, moldy, very, very interesting. I think I might change my my podium a bit. This should definitely be more towards the top. What I dislike about, well, about all of them, but about Rose especially, is that it's not original. The way, I mean, it's not fair, is it? Because it's the way Guerlain do their roses. But I was expecting something a bit more towards a Chypre, towards Nahema maybe, towards this fruity type of rose. But it's maybe my expectations were misplaced. I don't know. It is, however, the way Guerlain do or have done most of their roses in current times, not traditionally, but ever since, 2010 onward. And I think it works. It's a beautiful example of the Guerlain rose, but then again, it's, as a scent, it's so common. It's just a patchouli incense rose and nothing else, which is a shame. It's still quite beautiful. These were the X-rays. I don't know what else to tell you. I think my least favorite is the Jasmine. I think the Jasmine let me down the most. I didn't understand the path they took with the tropical ylang, although it's a beautiful scent. Well, all of them are. I was expecting this bombastic, huge Jasmine. I think Bergamot Fantastico is next to last, although I did quite like it. There's really nothing there. There's just really nothing there to talk about in Bergamot Fantastico all that much. So what I would like to say as my final thoughts is I would like to re-emphasize what Guerlain have done. So in launching these X-rays, they kind of prepared the table for the market by discontinuing most of the other scents that might have been a contender for the same, for the same type of scent. And this is a shame. I mean, this is, I'm pretty sure I'm right when I say this. So for instance, Tonka Imperial was discontinued and they launched Tonka Sarapia. Also, a limited edition of Shalimar, which is Shalimar Millésime Tonka, smells, even if you ask me, even more interesting than it's even more interesting than Tonka Sarapia. But that was just a limited edition. Again, it's not discontinued, but it was just briefly available. Now you can find it. The Bergamot Fantastico uses, it's it's quite similar to Rouge Privé, which again was this limited edition of Habit Rouge. You can still find. Then there's Jasmine Grandiflorum with Embrun d'Ylang. Axing Embrun d'Ylang was such a weird and out of the blue choice. That fragrance was amazing in the L'Art et la Matière line, and now it's just gone because it's very similar to Jasmine Grandiflorum. The vanilla, well, I think this is why the vanilla is my favorite. Even though it's quite similar to Lee, I think it's original enough as a standalone fragrance, and I cannot, find anything else at Guerlain quite similar to that. Then there's the Iris, which is this soapier, earthier version of Samsara, which is, Samsara is safe. Nobody's discontinuing Samsara. Hopefully, don't give them ideas. And then there's the Rose Rosa Centifolia, which is, as I said, it's very, very similar to Songe d'un Bois d'été, which was transformed into Bois Mystérieux, which is discontinued. And all of these discontinuations have happened this year or last year, so they knew what they were doing. And this is my little conspiracy theory there. I should have worn a tinfoil hat, but I'm pretty sure I'm right when saying this. However, these X-rays, I'm glad I smelled them. I think they are beautiful creations. They are definitely not worth neither the attention or the price point. One of my viewers said that they will be quickly discontinued or repackaged, and this might be true. This might happen at some point, although I hear that they are doing quite well in sales, which is interesting. These are my final thoughts on these X-rays. If you've got any other questions about these X-rays, do let me know. And until next time, remember, fragrance creates memories, and may yours be happy.